All right. Oh, that's a lot louder than I thought it would be. Welcome to the OpenStack User Survey session. Today we're going to go over some of the analysis that we published yesterday, or Monday, from November 2017. Here we have some stats that are compared to the April 2017 report, but we also did some year-over-year analysis to get a more comprehensive picture of user deployments and the adoption rates. So the first thing that we pulled is that the OpenStack deployments increased 95% in 2017. There's a few factors that go into this that we'll actually also go through with some of the other metrics. But one of the things that we're consistently seeing is that on-premises private cloud is continuing to be the most popular deployment method for OpenStack clouds. We did have some growth in other areas, but this is continuing to be something that year over year and even cycle over cycle continues to be the most popular way that OpenStack is deployed. So one of the exciting new things we did for this cycle was we translated the OpenStack User Survey. So we now have it in 8 different languages, and when it was previously only in English. And one of the biggest impacts this had was that we translated it into, I think, 4 different languages for Asia. So we had simplified and traditional Chinese, we had Korean and Japanese, and a huge shout out goes to the OpenStack translation team because it was all volunteers that translated the user survey. So we cannot thank you enough because we don't speak that many languages. But so we did see that 1/3 of OpenStack users were surveyed were in Asia, and more impressively, 17% were from China. And I think if you've been here all week, you've seen that we've been showcasing a lot of different use cases from China that are brand new, including China Railway, China UnionPay. China Mobile isn't quite new, but they are growing rapidly. And then Tencent, who won the Super User Awards on Monday. And they're now the OpenStack Foundation's newest gold member. So with this, we had a lot of growth in China over the last year, just even seeing at the OpenStack Days in July, where they featured a newspaper, they featured a bank and an oil company. Like, the ubiquity of OpenStack in China is something that's rapidly growing, and it's something that we see not only at our events, but also in the contributions in some of the working groups that are being formed. And that goes into the next point of that we saw an increasing adoption in non-IT industries. So IT continues to be the leading industry where OpenStack is deployed, but we saw growth in every single other industry, from finance and retail to telecom, research, and manufacturing. And you can see that with some of the case studies that we've come out with, not only here in Sydney, but also the last couple of months leading back all the way to Boston, where we featured the U.S. Army Cyber School on the keynote stage, a prominent government agency that is saving millions of U.S. tax dollars with OpenStack. This week alone, we had 2 financial industry companies, the Insurance Australia Group and Commonwealth Bank, who also shared their use case with OpenStack and how it's saving their companies money within their organization. One of the other exciting metrics we have is that 48% of deployments that were logged indicated that their users interact with another cloud. And this is something that we're increasingly seeing not only with the case studies, but also with the users that we talk to on a daily basis. We recently did a case study with Workday where they talked about how they're using OpenStack private cloud, but also how they interact with their public cloud environment as well. This research is actually also supported by a recent survey done by Cloudify, where they saw that 51% of their respondents are working with multiple clouds. And it wasn't even just one cloud plus another cloud. Some ranged from 8+ clouds. So it's definitely not an either-or situation when it comes to the cloud environments that you're choosing to deploy. It's really selecting the environment based on the workload that you're deploying for your organization. Among the containers and PaaS tools that our users are deploying, Kubernetes continues to be the leading tool that our users are adopting. And this is definitely something that's been evident in the past couple of surveys. But now it's up to 50% of users that answered this question selected Kubernetes, and 32% of those are in production. And this can be seen in not only these 4 users, but a lot of the users that have been on the other slides are also deploying Kubernetes in their environments, as well as other tools with OpenStack. So this is a new thing we did for this survey, where we usually in April we do a 60-page report where we go through every single deployment decision and we talk about what is the most commonly deployed hypervisor, Cinder storage driver, Neutron networking driver, all of these different deployment decisions that OpenStack users are having to make. And instead, when we do the October report or November, we do a condensed version where we look at the overall profile of the organizations and some of the deployment decisions that they're having to make. But now we have this OpenStack Median Cloud profile. So for all of these options listed here, you'll see that the option on the right is the one that is most commonly selected. This can also be seen in our OpenStack User Survey dashboard. This is something that we launched in...
I want to say Barcelona.
Okay, so a year ago, where you can go to our website and you can look at all of the different OpenStack User Survey analytics. We do keep this anonymous because one of the things that the user survey, we tell our users that you can give us our information and we keep that confidential unless you tell us that we can share that with other people. Because of course a lot of people want to know, well, who are the financial services organizations, who are the telecoms, and who are the universities that are innovating with OpenStack, and well, we just can't tell you, no. But this gives you the opportunity to look at the metrics in a way that you can filter by type of industry, deployment stage, or type of deployment, and see kind of how those may impact the results for some of the different deployment decisions. And with that, I'll pass it to Jimmy.
Hello.
Who built it, yeah.
Let me just shut this down really quickly.
Should escape. Yeah.
So this is the seemingly always in beta OpenStack survey report. Basically, you can sort of do your own analytics with this. As Allison mentioned, we try to keep the results anonymous, so if the results end up less than, I think, 20 users or maybe 15, things go blank, basically. So you can't kind of drill down to see exactly what people are deploying and how they're deploying it. But one of the new things we added this go around is the ability to filter by language. So you can search, well, there, October 2015 is when we launched this. So you can check out past deployments. You can check out both the surveys that were taken in 2017, and then also the full survey for 2017, which is basically a compiled version of both the first half and the last half of the year. So as you can see, the results kind of vary dramatically when you filter by language, which is one of the things that we kind of discovered this go around and kind of the major change in the last survey. So our NPS kind of goes wildly erratic as we dig through different languages. Part of that could be a translation issue, and part of that could be that maybe people are really dissatisfied. We don't think so, but it's one of the weird factors that we kind of added in this year. So it's something we're trying to study and figure out what's going on. Additionally, you can kind of filter down by type of industry, which stage of deployment is in. So if you want to just look at things that are in production and kind of see what the trends are, that's very easy to do. And then you can also drill down directly into specific deployments. So you can see, for instance, what are people using in production, maybe in China or in English-speaking countries or German-speaking countries. So it's pretty interesting data, and I think we've kind of learned a lot by adding these additional languages. There's definitely some trends that are happening in some countries that don't seem to be happening in others, which Allison's much more capable of speaking about. And so you've got just a bit more on deployment decisions and cloud size, so number of cores, number of processors, that type of thing. So I would encourage you to go and check it out, see if you can draw your own conclusions.
And with that, so the foundation does lead the creation of the report, and we host the survey itself. but it is something that we work with in conjunction with the OpenStack User Committee, but also a volunteer working group, because it is a lot of data to go through, and it is really important to kind of get different perspectives, because we hear things from the users that we talk to, but we can't be everywhere all at once just because it's a community of 80,000 people and a lot of users that we still don't even know about. So we really rely on involvement from the community. So if you are interested in getting involved, you can email me or Jimmy or anyone at the foundation, and we can get you plugged into the process and how you can help us build the report and share some of the insights with the broader community. With that, are there any questions or feedback?
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.